Hey guys, I get a ton of questions every day about how I make my murder mystery maps for this guy right here. And I wanted to make a very detailed guide on how to do it so that you guys can do it too if you'd like. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and click the Discord link in the description below. Please make sure to leave a like and ring that bell so that you can be notified next time I make a video. Let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to start from the very beginning and work my way through. Some of this might be basic to some of you guys, so if you need to skip ahead, feel free. But basically, you are going to start off by making a spawn room, which you're going to have rules, the title. If you have a support a creator account, you want to include that, and then you want to put down your spawn pads. And really, we only need 8 right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, that's perfect. And then the next thing that you want to do is I usually put like a little emoji right here, which this is just a billboard. And this is signaling that this is the center of the wall right there. I'm going to put this guy right in here. And I'm going to make him really small. And then I'm going to say blast radius 0.25. Health, indestructible, player damage, we don't want it to hurt people. Structure damage, you want to make sure that it breaks whatever it is. Indestructible, yes. Knockback, no. And then proximity delay, I'll just do 10 seconds. So what that is saying is that basically when they spawn in here, in 10 seconds, that is going to blow open. And then the next thing that you want to do, this isn't completely done yet, but that is going to open up for the players. They're going to be able to come down here and choose how many players are playing. So I have all the numbers set up, and I usually just go with whatever the theme is, make it kind of fun. And for number 3, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different channels right here. Channel 8 through channel 4. And for channel 4, I have 4 channels. 8 through 5. And basically what that is doing is if I come down the 3, so if I had 3 people playing, all of us would come down here and we would trigger all of these channels, which are basically closing off certain spots in the game. So if we did 8, there's 8 people, the game is naturally set up for 8 people, so there's no channels here. It doesn't matter. 7, there's just 1 because all you have to do is close off this right here. So then the last thing you have to do after putting down all of these triggers is put in this rift over here. Once people go in, they're going to all come through here and it's going to teleport them to the main gameplay part. And what you want to do here is you want to group A, teleporter target group, all change teleporter target on entry. This is very important so that people don't get teleported into the same room. And that should be all. So then when I enter this, I haven't set up these rooms yet, but in a normal murder mystery, these will all be different rooms. And see, as soon as I entered it, that one closed off. If I went back, it would do the same thing. And the way I do that is disable when receiving from channel 6 when teleported to transmit on channel 6. So basically, that bottom one, when it gets teleported to, it transmits on channel 6. And in the same way, it disables. The reason why that's important is because if you see when you teleport in, this right here is a class selector. And these class selectors are linked to different properties. So this is class identifier 7, which I know is innocent, which I'll show you how to do that in a second. And so that's an innocent, so on and so forth, and then these two are murderer and sheriff. And the important thing is what we were talking about with closing off those channels is really if you have 3 players, you only need these first 3 rifts because you don't want 3 people to become innocents, and then what is the point of the game? You're just hopping in and there's no murderer or sheriff. So that's why that is important. And so these class selectors are linked back here to the class designers. So I know this seems very complicated and crazy, but hang in there with me. I'll explain all of this. Basically, in every map, you need a mechanics room, usually when there's a lot of mechanics, and you want to be as organized as possible. And so don't look at everything around me, just look at right here, this row. That is the class designer, and I have it linked. So class 1 is the sheriff. So you can see here I have it labeled class identifier 1, sheriff, grant ammo with weapons. I did extra, and basically when you put down a class designer, you can go in and pick whatever weapons you want and drop it in there. So for this one, I have to customize this still to make it more Wild West theme, but this is the basic stuff I usually use for a sheriff, is just a hand cannon and a consumable that everyone gets. And then killer gets a shotgun, a sniper, and then innocent just gets the consumable and shotgun ammo. So remember, class 1, sheriff. So if I came over here and I clicked 3 people were playing with me, only these 3 would end up opening up. And so if I went into here, class 1, that is how I know this is the sheriff right here. And I have it so that when class switched, transmit on 1, disabled on 1. So it's the same thing as this. I don't want someone to come in and get the murderer class and then come into the sheriff's room and also like end up getting a sheriff's. So I disable everything. So there you have it. That is the class system and how to actually set up this first part. You are honestly, that's probably the biggest part right there, is setting up a spawn room and setting up this area and linking it to class designers. The next thing is really simple, and this is the score manager and the tracker. And this basically is the mechanics that tells the game to end when the innocents or the sheriff stop the murderer. And basically we're saying score value 1, add score, only one time can be triggered. I'll let you read all of this right here. Activate when receiving from channel 75. And over on the tracker, we have complete transmit on 75. So this is giving a score that ends the game, but in order to get that score, you need to put it in the tracker. And we have the target value 1, valid team any, assign on game start, sharing, and basically we're targeting class number 2, which if you remember, class number 2 is the killer class. So we're saying any person that kills class number 2, the killer, it gives a point. And then that point, if you go into my island and you have your settings, score to end 1. So it gives that score, ends the game, you are good to go. Boom, you just tackled another huge mechanic right there. Now let's move on to HUDs. This is all of the sounds that I have in game. So at the beginning of the game, I have an instructions HUD. Sheriff, find and stop the killer. Killer, don't get caught and kill everyone. Innocents, stay alive. That's just the very basic instructions. And I'm going to turn time from round start off because I'm going to put channel 10 on here. And I'll show you why in just a second. And then anonymous mode is just extra instructions. Turn on anonymous mode for best results and keep your guns a secret. So that's going to have, let's say, a 10-second time from start. Actually, we're going to do a 3-second time from start. So once they spawn, 3 seconds in, it's going to pop up and say that message, and then this channel 10 right here is going to be triggered. When you come in here, I've changed it to channel 10. So as soon as they enter the real game mode, they're going to get the instructions to get them going. A radio right here is just the music. I have it on electric stealth, but as you see, there's tons of options that you can have. The important part is the volume right here and whole island you want. So I usually keep it on low, especially if I'm doing stuff for SSundee and them, so that it's not overwhelming for their videos. And then I have other little things like mystery sound 1 when players get a new class. So when they get transmitted in, it makes that sound right there. And when a murderer kills someone, we get that sound. But the next huge thing is the item shop. If you set up everything we just did, you would technically be able to play a murder mystery game at a basic level. But we like to add a little flair into ours and add an item shop. And so we have mechanics for finding gold, surviving a kill, and survive length. And basically we have where if you survive for a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, so on and so forth, you get coin. So basically it encourages the game to move a little faster, which is really nice. And the murderer, if he waits too long, the innocents can come and buy weapons. So for the survive length part, we have over here in our mechanics room, we have these little music sequencers, which are really just showing that when you start a game start, this activates and hits this right here. And so for example, number 70 right here is linked over here to 70. So when that music sequencer triggers, we have two things over here. We have an item granter, which is the same thing as these class designers. You would just drop whatever you want the item granted to be in the item granter. So I dropped a coin and it drops in here, which is great. For this, we want all players to receive. We want them to keep all, grant current item, which is the coin. You can copy these if you'd like. The important thing is grant item when receiving from channel 70. So that is that music sequencer right there. So channel 70 goes off, everyone gets a coin. And I also have a sound over here, channel 70. So over here you can see 1 minute is linked to channel 72, 2 minutes 75, and all of those are linked. And so I have all of these. Technically you could put them in a giant row, but this just helps my mind organize a little better. So that is the survive length, the very bottom one. To survive a kill, 100 gold every time someone else dies, we have over here. So over here we have murderer kills, grant everyone, and I have it linked to channel 76. And I have an item granter with that coin that I want, and I have it grant item when receiving from channel 76. And the important part here is we have an elimination manager, which will help us do exactly what we want to do. We can put class identifier 2, and we're saying anytime class identifier 2 gets a kill, it will transmit on 76. And so when it transmits, you get a coin, and then remember over here we have that sound that goes off too. And then the last thing for the item shop is we have our item spawner over here, which this is set up to just be in-game and you can find them around. So you would hide them all over inside of buildings and all of that, and they can go and collect them. And so I only have this one set for 25 gold, and the other ones were 100 gold and 50 gold every time. And that is how you get the gold. And when you spend over here, you have the vending machines, and we have gold set up and then the cost set up. And the rest should just be default. It should be set up for you already. And it's the same thing as item granters. You drop the item you want on it, it shows up, and you can place it. Now, this last thing that I'm going to show you is the game settings. And here are all the settings that I have to make my map work. And so I have voice chat all, free-for-all, dynamic. I'm going to just scroll through these, so if you guys want to go ahead and change your settings to them, that is what works with the mechanics I just showed you. A very important part right here is score to end. That is what we were talking about earlier with the score manager. That is how the game ends if they kill the murderer. And then for settings, you can do any time of day. A lot of these you can mess with yourself, and you can customize shield, health, whatever you want. Infinite ammo I usually have off, because I'll just drop whatever ammo I want them to have in the item granter with their weapons. You want to make sure building is off. This is very important too. Allow item drop, allow item pickup. You want to make sure those are both on, because usually if the murderer kills the sheriff, their gun will drop, and you still want other innocents to be able to pick it up. And then really that should be it. Always hide player's name and location. And I usually turn off all of these so that it doesn't show any resource count except for gold. And the last thing is you can change these. I usually turn these down a little so that you can spend more time in game instead of on the score screen. So I have score and eliminations as the main things, and then all of this is pretty standard as well. And that should be everything. I'll have this map out in the next few weeks, so I hope you guys enjoy playing it, and I hope you guys make your own as well. I'll see you guys next time.